Hello everyone and welcome to part 2 of the little greenhouse experiment, trying to see what is most profitable. If you haven't watched part 1, I strongly suggest you do, just so you get a bit of background about what we're doing. Part 1 basically looked at cereal, so growing one type of crop only in each greenhouse, and then looked at which one was most profitable. In part 2, we're going to delve a little bit deeper. We're going to see what happens when you do parallel production, i.e. you run 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 items at the same time in the greenhouse. So this is basically a duplicated save. I've done this for 7 different saves. They are all exactly the same. They're all starting at this point. This is actually the same point as we started at in part 1. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we are going to enable our greenhouses. So we'll do the mushrooms first. Activate, 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 and then large, activate, activate. Then we're going to do chilies and garlic. Go to small green, chilies and garlic. Then medium, chili, garlic. Oh, the medium top. I missed the medium top. And the large. There we go. And then the large glass. Now, of course, we don't run the rice saplings on this test because it only does one thing. So we already know what happens. It's always only going to do one. Now, I am going to run for 24 hours and let's see what happens. There we go. That is 24 hours, which, because I'm on 1 day months, means we've run for 1 month. So let's go and have a quick check. We'll look at the mushrooms first, I think. So we'll start with the small, nothing in here, and show me, come on. We've got 514 of enoki and 254 of oyster. If we go here, 1 pallet of enoki, then we've got 28 enoki inside and 508 oyster. That's double. Here we've got 2 pallets of enoki, 1 of oyster, and inside 56 enoki and 16 oyster. So that's double again. So exactly as we'd expect. Medium, double of single. Large, double of medium. That's not single, that's small. If we come here, we'll go to this one first. So I'm not going to check glass and tarp because I know for a fact they'll both be the same. So no pallets, you'll see, 532 and 544. Here we've got a pallet of each, and you can see actually the space is shared. 64 chili, 88 garlic. And in this one, again, you can see all the crops are shared. We've got 2 boxes of each, and 129 chili, 177 of garlic. So that is the first test done. Next test is to do the same thing but with 3, and of course when we do 3 we're going to exclude the mushrooms. This is going to get a little bit more simple because I already excluded the one over there. I'm now going to actually exclude the tarp. There's no need to check the tarp and the glass, they both do exactly the same thing, so I'm just going to do the 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 with the glass. Let's jump over to that. And here we are in the next save, starting at exactly the same point as last time, like I said. So we're just going to run the glass this time, like I said. We go into here. So small glass, we're going to activate, activate, and activate. Then medium glass, activate, activate, activate. And large glass, activate, activate, activate. And now let's run a month. 1 month done. Let's start with the small greenhouse. Now I want to check something just for the visual. So yes, we can see we've got 3 different types. We've got the chilies, we've got the garlic, yep, that's garlic, and the lettuce, all growing. We have got about the same of each, 338 lettuce, 354 chili, 362 garlic, and no pallets. Let's close that door up. It's a greenhouse, we want to keep it warm in there. Here we have got no pallets as well. We've got 676, 708, 724, double what we had there. And if we go to the large, I expect yes, we've got one pallet of each, and I don't think we're going to have very much of anything inside. 352, 416, 449, so there is a bit inside. Now, I'm not going to show you the 4, 5 and 6 tests. I'm going to do those, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you the 7 test before we actually start to digest the data. So see you with the 7. Test 7 is now complete. We've run the month, and you can see it's a bit of a mess in there. You can also see we've got around about 150 litres of everything. If we look inside, you can see every single type of crop all in here at once. It's been doing that every time I add another crop. It takes a little bit of space, and it looks quite cool with lots of crop in there, but I think I prefer it with just 2. It looks nicer. That's my personal opinion. So that was about 150 of each. Here we've got about 300 of each, and of course no pallets. And here I'm guessing about 600. Yeah, about 600 of each. Exactly as expected. So I'm now going to go and tabulate all of this. It's going to take me probably about an hour real time. Once I've done that, I will come back and we'll talk about the results. Just want to talk about something very cool here, which is if I open the door, you can see it on the outside. You can see the rain, although actually you don't see the rain inside. You see it on the side wall, but from outside you can see the rain. I think you can. Yeah, from outside you can see the rain. Ooh, wow. I forgot he's very jerky when you do that. Yeah. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can see it properly. Yeah, there you go. Look at that. Right. Let me undo all of that. Otherwise I will forget later. Flight. There we go. Right. I will now go and tabulate. See you in a little bit. All the data is now tabulated and ready to present. What I have done is I've presented it all in a similar way to how I did in part 1, but I'm focusing this time only on the normal economy mode. If I try to present the easy and the hard, it just becomes too messy, too much all at once. So I'm just going to focus on normal prices. So with that in mind, a quick explanation of what happens based on the test, what happens when you run parallel productions. Essentially, you can see on the screen now the mushrooms, because that's the first we're going to talk about. The table at the top is parallel production running both enoki and oyster. The table underneath is a copy of the table from part 1, basically cereal. You can see you get 204 cycles if you run enoki small on its own. You get 102 if you run it in parallel with oyster. Likewise, oyster would be 168 if you ran it in serial mode, but in parallel it's 84. And then obviously the same thing for the medium and the large, it's divided by 2. So because you're running 2 productions, you divide by 2. When we go to the TARP later, the TARP, when you run 3 productions, you divide the serial by 3, 4 productions by 4, 5 productions by 5, etc., etc. So what can we see here? Well, using the same prices for the normal, we can see I've got a table here, a column for income min and income max. That doesn't apply to the mushrooms, so that's why it just says NA. You can ignore it. The income minimum on small greenhouse would be 756, 1512 for medium, and 3023 for large. ROI of 12 months on each of those. If you compare that to the cereal, what we're getting is 756 is about average between the enoki and the oysters from the cereal. 746 and 766 gives you 756. The same with the medium. You get the average of what you'd get if you were just growing the single in cereal. That all makes complete sense. So for mushrooms, just like with the cereal, in cereal I said there's not really enough difference between the two to be worried about, so pretty much grow what you want. Likewise, if you want to grow both at the same time, it's not going to have a major issue on profitability, a major difference, I should say, to the profitability. You're going to end up with pretty much the same amount of money anyway. So swings and roundabouts really. It's kind of up to how people want to do it. So with that in mind, let's look at the TARP when you're doing 2 items. So just as I did in the other one, I've got the TARP here. The table at the top is parallel, the table at the bottom is serial. All of the cycles are basically divided by 2 from the serial. Now this is where the income min and income max does come into play. If you were running all of these, if you were running them at divided by 2, you obviously can't have 7 running at a parallel of 2. So what I've done for the minimum is if you were to run parallel productions for 2 types of crop, and the minimum is then the 2 that give you the lowest income per month, and the max is the 2 that would give you the highest. So in this case, for a small greenhouse, the minimum comes from the Napa cabbage and the garlic, and the maximum comes from the lettuce and the tomatoes. And that's the same for the medium and the large, both exactly the same. What you can see is there's quite a big difference between the min and the max. The min is actually almost as low as if you just ran Napa cabbage. It's slightly higher with an ROI of 2 months less. The maximum is quite significantly lower than if you were to run just lettuce, which gives you 1,460 and a 6-month ROI. Instead now we're getting 1,117 and 8-month ROI. Everything from here on out is going to be following a pattern. So you're going to notice a lot of patterns here, and I'm probably going to speed up. I'm not going to explain as much on each table now. But basically what you've got here is 20-month ROI on minimum income and 8-month ROI on maximum. So let's go to 3 parallel items. So now all of the cycles are divided by 3. Our income is dropping because the output is dropping. Our minimum income is now 494 and maximum income is 1002. ROI is 18 and 9. Now I'm just talking small here obviously. If we go to parallel 4, the income minimum has gone up again and the income maximum has gone down. The ROI is also reducing for the minimum and increasing for the max. We go to 5, same again, increasing minimum, decreasing maximum. And likewise for 6, and the same for 7. Now, you guys don't really care about the specific numbers, I don't think. But if you do, I'm going to make the 2 files Greenhouse Part 1 and Greenhouse Part 2. I'm going to make them available. I'm going to put some bit.ly links so that you can access them and you can basically have a look at the numbers yourself. To make this easier to understand, what I've got is a beautiful little chart. The green solid line represents the maximum income and the green dotted line is the ROI for the maximum income. Likewise, red solid, income minimum, red dashed, ROI. You can see the ROI minimum decreases as you run more production, more parallel productions, and the income for the minimum increases. You can also see the income maximum does the opposite. It decreases all the way from running serial to running 7. And the ROI maximum increases. And they actually converge. The ROI min and max converge at 7 with 12-month ROI. And the min and max income converges at 7 with an income of 747. Now the data here is for the small greenhouse only. The reason for that is because if you want to use these numbers, obviously for the income you double the number for medium and then double it again for large, and the ROI is double and double. Saying that, am I stupid? No, the ROI stays the same. Ignore what I just said, but the income does double. So there we go. Basically, you will make more money if you run cereal only. In this case, in the tarpon greenhouse, you'll make more money if you run lettuce. But if you want to run other things, then your income is going to actually decrease overall until it converges at the 7 productions. Whereas the mushrooms, well, not much difference between them. I hope that was educational. I actually wasn't expecting to see the numbers converge. I was expecting that the cycles would just divide by the number of productions you were running, but I did not expect the numbers to start doing that. Anyway, that is everything from me. Again, just like in the other video, if you have any comments, questions, or you spot any errors, then please just let me know and I can correct them. And I'll say big thank you to Farmer Klein for the idea for this video, because it comes straight out of his test he did. I just wanted to run the maths behind what he did. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again soon. Bye bye.